Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go, this is Valley News Live at 5.
New for you now at 5, Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden and California Senator Kamala Harris held their first official joint campaign event today in Wilmington, Delaware. Kamala Harris is the first black woman to compete on a major party's presidential ticket. Both discussed their mission to fight for working families and social injustice. Officials say Harris is expected to play a vital role in Biden's bid to defeat President Donald Trump. North Dakota is putting federal money into an effort to get more special education teachers into schools across the state. This comes at a time when local parents say they're concerned about the upcoming school year. As Valley News Team's Joshua Peguero explains, these parents are worried their children may be left behind.
Teresa Bush has 2 kids enrolled at Osgood Elementary. Last year, both abruptly transitioned, like other students, from in-class to remote learning once the pandemic forced schools to close.
My kids need stability. They like that. It's something that is important to them. I mean, it's important to all children.
Bush says it was not a good experience for her children who have individual education plans or IEPs.
I'm reluctant that they're going to be able to get the supports that they need.
Bush became even more concerned once West Fargo Public Schools announced it's using a hybrid model for learning this year.
There's no way that they're going to be able to keep them social distanced. For one, I don't feel like it's going to happen that way. I'm reluctant to send my kids to school for that reason.
West Fargo Schools has told us it's possible students with IEPs could get additional help on Wednesdays. Fargo Public Schools has yet to announce its plans for students who need special education, and that district has nearly a dozen job openings. Dr. Holly Peterson of Minot State University is spearheading a new program to help paraprofessionals get their teaching licenses in less than 2 years.
The program incorporates giving them credit for that experience, that on-the-job experience that they've already gotten.
Governor Doug Burgum awarded Minot State $750,000 in federal dollars for 20 scholarships. Peterson says there are some paras from Fargo and West Fargo schools.
We're able to select 20 that represent a variety of different school districts. On some of our Native American reservations, as well as large city school districts.
Those paras are scheduled to graduate in the winter of 2022. In West Fargo, Joshua Peguero, Valley News Live.
We did ask Fargo Public Schools when it will release its plan for students who need a special education. All they say is they're continuing to create information for families that have students that receive special services. Breaking news just now into our newsroom. Emergency crews in Grand Forks are currently on the scene of a house fire at the intersection of 17th Avenue South and 38th Street South. At this time, there's no word on whether anyone's been injured, but stick with Valley News Live as we continue to follow this story. A little gloomy today at times, not bad though. Our First Alert weather team is keeping track of stormy weather that's headed our way. First, let's find out how this evening looks. Here's Hutch with the first look at our forecast. Hutch?
Yeah, thanks so much, Andrea. As we head into the overnight hours, things are going to change. And for some of us by morning already, Thursday will bring thunder. So we have First Alert weather days issued Thursday and Friday as we've been talking about the entirety of this work week. Here is a look at what we expect to transpire for your Thursday. Storms will have several rounds of them, but the main event will happen in the afternoon and evening hours. Where you see the orange area, our risk for severe weather has increased over what we were even thinking yesterday. That means very large hail, damaging winds in excess of 70, maybe 80 miles per hour, isolated tornadoes. And enhanced means we'll see numerous severe storms in the slight areas. It's the yellow counties that you see around there. For the rest of our viewing area, we are expecting a few severe storms in those areas. For tonight, the storms that hit us in the morning are now chugging into the Twin Cities area. We have storms out in the Montana border area that we'll be watching tonight. Look at the heat out west, 90s there, 70s for us. So your hour-by-hour forecast shows those storms forming near the Montana border, pushing their way into our region as we start our day and into the morning hours tomorrow. Those storms could bring damaging wind, they could bring lightning, and we could see some large hail with them to start your day. I'll tell you what, Andrea, we'll have details on the main event on Thursday afternoon, as well as a look ahead towards Friday here in just a second. But keep that Valley News Live weather app handy.
All right, thanks, Hutch. One man is dead and another injured after a collision with a tree this morning. Fargo police stated that the vehicle was traveling westbound on the 400 block of 11th Avenue North around 6 this morning. The man was declared dead on scene and the woman was taken to a hospital with unknown injuries. The Fargo Police Department is still investigating the cause and whether speed or alcohol played a role. A Fargo man will not be spending any time in prison after he was arrested for sexually abusing a 12-year-old and having child porn. 36-year-old Raymond Reed was originally charged in March with gross sexual imposition and possession of child pornography. On August 5th, Reed pleaded guilty to contributing to the delinquency or deprivation of a minor and possession of certain prohibited materials. Records show he was given credit for serving 143 days in jail. Reed is now sentenced to 3 years of probation and required to register as a sex offender. As the coronavirus continues to grip the U.S., its economic impact becomes more noticeable by the day. While federal assistance throughout the pandemic aimed to mitigate the damage to the economy, businesses are still having to close their doors. Our Washington Bureau's Peter Zampa is taking a look at what will happen to these empty storefronts.
A grim reminder. A pandemic rages on. Empty storefronts riddle once vibrant streets across the U.S. Thousands of businesses forced to close for good because of the coronavirus shutdown.
They are not able to endure the pandemic and what lies ahead.
Small Business Administrator Jovita Carranza says despite the federal payroll protection program for small businesses, thousands cannot survive mandatory shutdowns. But she's hopeful boards will soon come off, with other companies purchasing failed ones or a new business owner capitalizing on an open space.
Entrepreneurs, they never die. They just resurrect, they retool.
That retooling may take some time, according to the chief economist at the National Association of Realtors. Dr. Lawrence Yun says that these downtown closures could be the norm for quite some time.
It really depends upon whether the workers come back to downtown offices.
Yoon says the new work-from-home landscape could outlast the pandemic, with major tech companies leading the way. He believes that will be good news for small businesses setting up shop in the suburbs, but that could leave a void downtown. He expects bankruptcies to continue, but he thinks that could lower prices for up-and-coming entrepreneurs.
During that time, it also means that there will be some price adjustments where some people see it as an opportunity to buy on the cheap.
In Minnesota, the Department of Health is reporting another 470 confirmed cases of COVID-19, along with 12 new deaths linked to the illness. In total, 1,678 deaths have been attributed to the disease, while over 55,000 people are listed as recovered. In North Dakota, there are 87 cases and 2 more deaths. The death toll now sits at 120, while the active case count is up to 1,099. 2 local colleges are answering questions from students about safety as they return to school, starting with Minnesota State University. Everyone on campus is required to wear a mask. Self-screening services will be placed at entrances. If students happen to test positive for COVID-19, they will work directly with the Dean of Students' office to get their absences approved. Staff say they're still planning to reopen their offices on or before August 17th. Now over to the University of North Dakota. They'll have a primary entrance and exit in buildings and provide hand sanitizer and wet wipe stations. Signs will be displayed to limit hallway congestion and crowding. In-class staff will be physically distanced behind a marked area and plexiglass shield. Both meetings at the 2 colleges are set to begin at 6 o'clock tonight. You can find them on our VNL News app or look on each college's Facebook page. The city of Moorhead says census workers may soon be knocking on your front door. The city says the state of Minnesota has the highest self-response rate in the nation at 72.6%. And the city of Moorhead has an even higher response rate, 73.6%. If someone does come to your door to collect information, they should have a valid ID badge with their photograph on it, a U.S. Department of Commerce watermark, and an expiration date. If you suspect suspicious activity, you should contact local law enforcement. Still to come on Valley News Live at 5. After months of teasing the device on social media, Microsoft is ready for pre-orders on its new Android phone.
And this morning started with rounds of thunderstorms from the Southern Valley into central Minnesota. Those are sweeping off toward the Twin Cities. Our attention turns to volatile weather on Thursday. We'll have details on the timing of storms in your area next.